a Roland Dito's production. Brought to you by Directness.
A non-dual broadcasting system.
Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. If you thought we've explored some heady philosophical terrain before, you'll want to strap in. Today, we are analyzing a pretty radical text shared by you, our listener, titled The Glitch in the Simulation, From Terror to Play.
And it really is.
It is. It's less of a text and more of a demolition manual for your most deeply held assumptions about, who you are and what the world is.
It's definitely demanding reading, I'll say that. But it's also profoundly rewarding if you're willing to really sit with the premises.
Right.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going to act as your guides through this whole inquiry. We're going to unpack the source's central and, frankly, universe-tilting claim,
which is
that the very foundation of the human experience, that solid sense of being you, is built upon a fundamental and universal illusion.
And what I love about this source is that it doesn't ease you into the pool. It just throws you right into the deep end.
No wading in.
No. It immediately dives into the identity of the supposed observer. They call it Section 1's concept, the imposter I.
Precisely. And we all operate under this assumption, right, that there's a solid central thinker sitting in the command center of our minds.
The little person in the chair.
Exactly. We believe this entity, this me, is the producer of thoughts, the decision maker, the one who's judging the world. It feels so real. It feels necessary.
That's the core delusion, isn't it? The belief in that stationary producer.
It is.
But the source argues that if you conduct a direct internal inquiry, if you actually try to find this thinker, it just vanishes.
It doesn't just vanish. The real insight is that the whole structure we assume is backward. The I is not the producer of the thought. The I is itself a thought. It just arises spontaneously, like a thought about what to have for dinner or, a memory of a vacation.
That is the critical flip.
Yeah.
So what is this I then? Is it just like an echo?
The source material describes it so vividly, it calls it a ghost claiming to own the house. It's non-substantive. Yeah. It doesn't exist as a separate, solid thing that has thoughts. It's merely an energy loop. A thought referencing other thoughts, all floating in this boundless awareness. It's a concept claiming to be the one doing the conceptualizing.
Wow. That immediately raises a staggering question for you, the listener. If the thing we rely on as the observer, the narrator of our entire lives, is just an illusionary thought bubble, how can we trust anything it perceives?
And that's where the analysis transitions so beautifully. Because if the self is a ghost,
then what about the world that Ghost is seeing?
Exactly. The world that Ghost perceives has to be questioned next. And the source turns to a neuroscientific perspective, arguing that our external reality is derived from the limits of the physical brain.
Okay, let's unpack this shift into the world as projection. We're moving from the metaphysical I to this physical confinement.
Yeah.
The source calls it being sealed in the skull.
Think about the actual physical reality of your brain for just a moment. It lives in absolute darkness.
Right.
And complete silence encased in bone. It has never, ever seen light or heard sound directly. All it gets are electrical signals coursing through nerve endings.
So it's the ultimate signal processor, but it's completely walled off from the world it supposedly lives in.
Exactly. The brain takes those raw, non-sensory electrical signals, and then in this stunning act of creative genius, it synthesizes and projects a seamless, three-dimensional, full-color, full-sound hologram.
And we call that hologram the world.
We do.
Wait, so the inescapable conclusion here is that the ghost I is not only living in an illusion, but it's, in a very real sense, it's creating the model of reality it lives inside.
It's making it up by making it up.
Wow.
It is perpetually stuck observing the map, never actually touching the territory. The smell of coffee, the color of the screen you're looking at, the temperature of the air, these aren't properties of the world out there.
They're projections.
They are projections happening inside the skull, derived from signals that have no inherent smell, color, or temperature themselves.
And this realization just immediately detonates the concept of boundaries. That feeling we all have that we're an internal me looking out.
Oh, absolutely.
I think everyone operates with that default sensation. I'm inside this skin sack, and I'm gazing out at the external world.
But the source material just dismantles that by asking us to look at our direct experience. Where are you seeing this monitor? Where are you hearing this conversation?
Well, the vision of the room, the sound of the traffic outside, the sensation of my own body.
Yeah.
They're all appearing within the same field of awareness. They're just co-arising content.
There is no functional boundary. The world isn't out there separate from the body that perceives it, and the body isn't separate from the consciousness that sees both.
So the very concept of outside is just...
It's just another thought, another piece of content appearing inside awareness. If the outside is a projection, well, it's happening right here.
This is where we hit the real weight of the text, what they call the magnitude. Because if the mind is sealed and reality is a projection, the implications for, well, everything we take seriously are just stunning. It moves from an intellectual idea to a deeply personal, almost terrifying realization.
If every perception is a manifestation within your own consciousness, that means your conscious experience is all you have ever or could ever experience, and that radically recontextualizes relationships, life events, everything.
Let's bring that to life for the listener, because this is the part that really bends your mind. If you are honest with this premise,
Yes.
every single conversation you have ever had was a conversation with your own projection.
That sophisticated image of the person you love, the boss you fought with, the stranger you helped, every one of those interactions was with an image rendered moment by moment within your own boundless awareness.
Even our most cherished sensory experiences are internalized. The sublime taste of a great wine,
Not in the
the
wine.
overwhelming power of a piece of music. It's not in the music. It's a sensation occurring in you, generated by you.
And the profound consequence of this is a paradox. It's absolute intimacy and absolute solitude combined.
How so?
Well, you have only ever met yourself, just in different projected forms. There's no separation, but just the intimacy. But because there is no separation, there's no true other to break the solitude.
That is deeply unsettling. It suggests a level of responsibility for your experienced reality that is just immense.
It is.
So if the I is a ghost and the world's a hologram, how do we stop the ghost from being terrified by this solitude?
And that's why the text relies so heavily on the dream analogy. It's the perfect way to contextualize the relationship between the contents of consciousness and the awareness itself.
Okay, let's walk through that. Imagine you were in a classic fear dream.
Yeah.
You're running through a shadowy jungle.
Right.
And you feel the hot breath of a terrifying tiger closing in behind you. The fear is real. The running is exhausting.
But when you wake up, you realize something fundamental. The dream tiger was made of your mind. The dream jungle was made of your mind. And the character of you running away, the terrified protagonist,
Was also made of my mind.
also made of your mind.
All three elements, the threat, the setting, and the self, were just contents within a single field.
So the source asks the key question. Who was the actual dreamer? It wasn't the character running away. It was the boundless awareness in which the entire scene, the fear, the runner, the tiger, all of it was happening simultaneously. The dream was dreaming itself, but the true subject was the screen that the whole movie played on.
Okay, that clarifies the role of awareness, but it still leaves that existential terror. The terror the phantom I feels when it's faced with its own non-existence.
Of course.
If I realize I'm just content, what stops the fear? We have to address what the text calls the end of terror.
Right. The mind fears no self. It equates dropping the I with oblivion, with some scary black void. But the terror is just friction, the source suggests. It's the sound of the illusion, the ghost trying desperately to hold on.
Because if the ghost I dies, everything stops.
Right. That's the assumption. But it's wrong, according to the text. The beautiful realization is that the I who fears death never existed in the first place.
So the fear is happening to the illusion.
Exactly. So when the illusion collapses, you are not left with a void. What remains is not terrifying absence, but this vibrant, living immediacy.
The movie continues, but the self-referential filter is gone.
It's gone. There's simply no one left to be scared of or scared for. The manager is fired, and the show just goes on.
And this clarity about identity, that you are the awareness, not the character, is what fundamentally shifts our interaction with the world.
It does. It leads us directly to this shift, where the whole concept of purpose and traditional goals gets completely redefined.
Okay, so this self is an illusion, and reality is a projection you are co-creating. The source material says the pursuit of traditional happiness goals becomes, and I'm quoting here, idiotic.
Strong word.
It is, but they lay out two compelling reasons why.
And the first one is the symbolic nature of goals. We chase things like money, status, recognition. But these are just sophisticated symbols, right? numbers, concepts conjured by the mind itself.
Chasing an idea.
It's intrinsically foolish. You are chasing a concept that has no substance. You can't catch the horizon.
Right. And you spend your entire life trying to accumulate enough symbols to make the ghost I feel secure.
And the second reason is what they call the fallacy of pursuit. The entire mechanism of pursuing happiness implies a separation between you and happiness. It means you believe you don't have it right now.
But if you are the boundless awareness in which all experience, including happiness, arises.
You are the happiness itself. You're already the screen where the joyful movie plays. Searching for it is the very act that guarantees you don't feel it.
So the burden of work, that heavy lifting the I does to achieve some future peace, is revealed as completely unnecessary.
It is. So the question becomes, if the burden of goals is lifted, what mode of action is left?
And that's the beautiful transition from work to play. It's not about stopping activity.
No, not at all. It's about changing the nature of that activity.
How so?
Routines, professions, relationships, they all still exist. But they're no longer requirements for some future arrival or these heavy burdens. They become feedback loops for the game.
So we consciously create a path. We take meaningful action.
But we do so with zero expectation of where that path leads.
The focus completely shifts to process. You refine your skills, you pursue improvement, not to achieve some ultimate symbolic victory.
But simply for the joy of playing the game better, improvement becomes art.
The playing is the point.
The playing is the point. The action itself is the fulfillment. The joy is inherent in the moment of execution, not in the outcome that the fired manager used to promise.
This sounds almost effortless, which is where the final integration, the punchline of the source material comes in. The cosmic joke.
Yes, this realization of non-doership.
What's the joke?
The ultimate joke, after all this complex inquiry, is the question that inevitably comes up. Does realizing this require effort to maintain? Do you need to work hard to stay in the state of play?
And the obvious answer, once the I is seen through, is no. Who would maintain it?
Who's there to do the work?
The manager, the controller, has been fired. There's no one left to perform the maintenance.
The source offers this wonderful analogy. It's like asking the ocean if it takes effort to be wet.
Right.
The silence, that foundational, boundless awareness, the screen and the movement, the flow of life, the movie, are simultaneous. They're inseparable. You don't do this. You are this.
What a profound inquiry. I mean, to briefly recap, the core transformation offered by this text is that essential shift in perspective. Moving from viewing yourself as a separate, terrified thinker locked inside a skull to realizing you are the boundless awareness in which the entire world, including your ghost thoughts, appears.
It's the ultimate undoing of the boundary between inner and outer, and it leads to a life defined by immediate presence, not by future pursuit.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you to carry forward, building on that idea that the only purpose left is the joy of playing the game better. If the text is correct, if the observer and the observed are of the same substance, and the goal of life is the artistic process, not the symbolic result, what stops us from immediately choosing the most playful, most artistic, or most expressive action available to us right now?
If the playing is the point, there's a serious question to be asked about why we choose to play the heavy, serious games we do.
Thank you for sharing these sources with us and inviting us to take this truly deep dive. Until next time, keep digging into the nature of that ghost in the house.